Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a best of one deck that has been kind of on the back burner for me for a little while, but I finally finished off a few pieces and kind of got it where I want it to be, so we're going to showcase it today. It's one of those decks that I think is actually capable of some sort of best of three environment, though I'm not entirely sure yet, and you know, I think it's still subject to change. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the deck tech real quick. If you guys want to get straight to the matches as well, there will be a timestamp somewhere around here, and you can go straight there. So, what are we playing with today? Well, a while ago, I did actually want to play around with Dovin Grand Arbiter. I wanted to find a place for him. He's kind of okay in the Esper mid-range list, which was running around a little while ago. It was kind of pretty cool, actually. It worked very well with the Hero Precinct 1. But I wanted to try it around with Whatley, because that's another Planeswalker that I've been interested with. So, I mean, how does Dovin and Whatley go together? Well, with tokens, essentially. So, this is where we are at now. Building a kind of token, mid-rangey, kind of long game kind of matchup. So, Dovin Grand Arbiter is a 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker. +1 until the end of the turn. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Dovin Grand Arbiter. So the idea of this deck is hopefully to be able to tick up enough to ultimate every single other turn. So the -7 allows us to look at the top 10 cards of our library, and then put 3 of them into our hand, and the rest onto the bottom of a library in any order. We accompany that superb card selection with Whatley Radiant Champions Ultimate, which is a 4-mana 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Her -8 is you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card, which allows us to go absurdly through our deck. And again, she's kind of easy to trigger her ultimate the turn after she comes down, because I believe if she gets four creatures in play and ticks up, she's already ready to ultimate, and we don't really mind killing Whatley to get that emblem either, because we probably will end up drawing into another Whatley anyway, just because her emblem exists. But her +1 allows you to put loyalty counters equal to each creature you control, in addition to the +1 as well, so it's pretty sweet. Her -1 is one of the finishers of this deck as well. It's pretty good. Target creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control, so our go wide strategy can be a go big strategy if we really need it to be. So these are kind of the build around cards, the finishers. So what are we building around with these cards? Well, right at the very bottom we have the usual token auto-include, Legion's Landing, 1 mana, white, legendary enchantment. When it ends the battlefield, you get to create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, and if you attack with 3 or more creatures, which we're trying to do pretty much every single time, we get to transform it into a Danto, the First Fort. It's a white land that allows us to pay 4 in total, 3 and tap itself to create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. So this gives us threats in the long game. You know, if our opponent's running board wipes, then we get to rebuild pretty quickly with a Danto. It's also very nice as well with like Trostani, who's going to give all of our tokens, or all of our creatures actually, +1/+1, so these Legion's Landings come out as 2/2s, which is pretty sweet, and Lifelinkers, which allows us to keep up with the red decks and things like that. But yes, Trostani, when she enters the battlefield, she gets to create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink, which will be 2/2s as long as Trostani is around, including, obviously, our vampires, which will be 2/2s. It's pretty sweet. She also has a little clause at the end, which doesn't always come into play, but if your opponent's running Thief of Sanity, it has some bamboozling kind of effects. So at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So if our opponent steals our creatures, either through Hostage Taker or Thief of Sanity, anything of that sort, then we actually get our creatures back because of Trostani. It's not something that crops up very often, but it is something that is pretty funny when it happens. Your opponent steals your best thing with Thief of Sanity, and then at the end of the turn it just comes back magically to your side. It's wonderful. Hunted Witness right at the very bottom as well. 1 mana, 1/1. When it dies, you get to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink, so it's better when it dies, but it is a body on board as well to help us trigger Legion's Landing. It's very good at helping us trigger Legion's Landing because, of course, it is a creature that has to die twice in order to keep us off of that 3 creature quota, so pretty wonderful there. We have 3 Hero of Precinct 1. Did used to run the playset, but I don't think we have the golds entirely in this deck to justify the full playset anymore. It used to be a little bit different, but now I have cut down on some of the multicolored cards, but it's a 2-mana 2/2. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you get to put a token into play, which is kind of nice. We have Amara, Soul of the Accord, which is Selesnya colors for a 2/2. When she gets tapped, we get to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Again, keeping up with the red decks, pretty sweet. We do have ways of tapping her as well outside of combat. So we have Conclave Tribunal, which is a convoke card for 4 mana. It's essentially an Ixalan's Binding, but worse. But we do actually manage to maybe cut the cost of this one because of the amount of creatures we're running. Convoke allows us to tap all of our creatures to cast this spell, so we could maybe swing in with some Vigilant tokens and then tap them to get rid of Planeswalkers and things like that. It's essentially our catch-all for anything that our creatures can't deal with. We also have Venerated Loxodon as another convoke target, another way to tap Amara. When this enters the battlefield, you get to put a 1/1 counter on each creature that convoked it. So the idea is that you want to tap down your board using Venerated Loxodon for basically a bigger swing the following turn. It's also quite nice to get your 1/1s out of like Chain Whirler range as well, if you don't have like Tristani in play. So pretty sweet. And then the final convoke card, we have 1 March of the Multitudes. It's not something that goes off very often, which is why we have a 1 of in this deck. But it is pretty sweet in the late game when you do see it, because then you just get to rebuild completely. It's one of those kind of gotcha cards when your opponent taps out, and then on their end step you just make 15 tokens and just win the game on your turn. It's pretty cool. We also have History of Benalia, again, another kind of token auto-include. Doesn't trigger Hero of Precinct 1, which is why we're running 3 copies. Also, I mean, we really want to be hitting Dovin on our turn 3, so... it's one of those that kind of clashes in the 3-drop slot, but it's still a solid card all the same. 1 and double white for a 2/2 generator. We can create 2 2/2s over 2 turns, and then on the 3rd turn, all of our knights get +2/+1, which unfortunately our knights only applies to the tokens that Benalia makes, but it is pretty sweet all the same. Finally, we have Depose Deploy. Depose allows us to tap creatures as maybe a tempo swing, and we get to draw a card, but one of the real reasons we're playing this is the deploy effect. Instant speed, 4 mana, we get to create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying, and then we gain 1 life for each creature we control. So if we're going wide, we're going to gain a lot of life with this, which is pretty sweet, but bare minimum we get 2 power in the board in the flyers for 4 mana, which is pretty sweet, and we gain 2 life off of those as well, so pretty cool there. It's very nice as well as a finisher. If you have a Huatli in play and a fair few creatures, your Thopters can go right over the top with Huatli's -1, giving them a big buff and making those Thopter tokens like 5/5s and 6/6s, which is pretty sweet. That's essentially the deck, guys. The mana base is, I think it's a little sketchy at the moment. We are entirely white for the record. Every single card in this deck is white, so we are running the full play set of Temple Gardens and Sun Petal Groves, as we're obviously quite baseline Selesnya, being tokens of course, but we're also running the full play set of Hallowed Fountains and Glacial Fortresses, because we are primarily white, and we are splashing blue in Depose and Deploy and Dovin as well. We are running breeding pools in here just to keep up the green quota, so that we're not skewed a little bit too much in that sense, but these can be kind of problematic since, of course, we are white primarily every single time, and therefore Breeding Pool doesn't necessarily help us cast our turn 1 spells, as does Hinterland Harbour. I'm considering trimming these down a little bit more just to add some more basics in, honestly. Maybe even just like more basic planes. I'm not entirely sure yet, but it is subject to change. I would suggest if you do build this one that you tweak it to your liking, or maybe check out future videos with this one if I do end up returning to it. But without further ado, let's get into the matches and showcase the deck. It's pretty sweet, pretty fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Alrighty then, we're in. We have turn 2 Imara, but we don't have the Legions landing on time. I think that's fine though, because we're not exactly flipping it anytime soon. So yeah, let's keep this one. Breeding pools are a wee bit sketchy. I've tried to actually cut down on the number of non-white lands in this deck, but apparently we're just drawing them all anyway, so we'll see. We're up against Mono Blue Tempo, which is going to be fun. Opponent swings in for 1. And then drops their guard. Fair enough. Alright, well, that's a pretty good draw. Sun Petal Grove does actually mean that we get the turn 3 History of Benalia if our opponent lets us resolve anything. So let's just do Sun Petal Grove, Imara. If they want to tap that with Merfolk Trickster, then go right ahead. We'll get a token in response. Actually, how does that work? I don't think it actually works that way. I have to look into that. Because Merfolk Trickster says it loses its ability, but it also taps. But I think it taps and loses in the same trigger. So I'm assuming this doesn't work the way I maybe hope it does. Alright, anyway, let's swing in with Amara. So let's get a token. Good stuff. And there's Merfolk Trickster. Fair enough. I guess our opponent also wasn't entirely sure how that worked, or they wanted to trick us. I really don't know. But I'm happy for that trade-off, because now we get to play History of Benalia. Woo! Alright. Opponent with a land into Tempest Shin. We're going to need a Conclave Tribunal for that. But we're going to need 3 because of the Storm Tamers. It's a bit sketchy. Okay, so they have Spell Pierce and Dive Down mana open. So we should probably... Ooh. I mean, we could get a March of the Multitudes, what, X4? Doesn't really get a Benalia pump benefit, but it does mean that we're in a reasonable spot. That being said, I can also play Amara with Spell Pierce around. That's the problem. Nice. I'm just going to run my timer down a little longer than I normally would, because, you know, that's what it's here for. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm not in the mood for being told how I can play Magic the Gathering. Thank you very much, opponent. Let's just play Amara and then drop down some Legion's Landings, I guess. Yeah, they don't have the Spell Pierce. And pass. Yoga. Okay, so opponent bottoms. We're going to get a pump on our knights, so these are going to be swinging in for 4/3s, which is pretty reasonable. I guess my opponent might want to think about holding back, but nope, they're going all in. Good for you, opponent. We are on 10. Going up to 13, though. And only 2 instants in the graveyard. Fair enough. They've got Wizard's Retort open. So that's something to keep in mind. We do have a Dovan. So we could play Dovan. We definitely want to swing in with enough here. There's also Merfolk Trickster to worry about. So if I shocked, I would probably end up killing myself, right? Probably. Let's swing with enough for... I think I just want to get in with everything, honestly. I don't think I want to be gentle with this at all. Flip Legion's Landing. Get a token. Nice. Take them to 7. And then I think we just play... We could do Dovan for the bait, I guess. Would be an option. There's no way this March is going to resolve, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to figure out, how I want to do this. I think we just do tap Breeding Pool and pass, and then just get them to tap out on their turn by playing March. My turn, eh? Alright, well, in that case, I think I might actually just make a token. Hunted Witness. Yeah, I think they just can't really afford to do anything now. So this costs 8, 7, 6. So they can't play Terramander just yet. Or pump it. Alright. So I'm just going to take a little longer to figure out... you know what, I'm just really struggling with this line of play, right? I do want to kind of hit next to go to combat. But my opponent has had enough and is now going to scoop it up. So, victory, I guess. Good stuff. That's probably maybe my favourite win of the day. And I just can't really lock down why I really enjoyed that matchup. But yeah, let's go for another one. Oh, also, the card was Siren Storm Tamer. Victory. Victory. Okay, we got 2 Shocklands, and we can depose a little while. We can also Amara as well. Amara gets deposed and creates a token. That's kind of a thing, right? On the draw, I mean, this hand is kind of sketchy, I'm not going to lie. I think there are much better hands than this. It's whether or not I want to throw one back and find out, is it worth throwing away a hand like this? Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, it sounds much better. Alright, and spare Dovin, probably not. So we got turn 2 Hero, turn 3 Dovin maybe, turn 4 Amara. I'm not entirely sure of the order there. Cinder Barons. I have no idea what this deck is. Alright, so let's just do... Let's do Breeding Pool tapped. Could go Amara, could go Hero with this line. It's just absolutely better than going with the Hallowed Fountain. Don't think there's much debate there. The debate comes into whether or not I actually want to drop down Hero into what is potentially removal. And I think the greed in me wants to say yes to that. Yeah. We got so many gold cards in hand, it feels like wasted potential if we don't play down Hero. Our opponent with the Glass of the Guild pack. I was hoping that would mean that they would also go the greedy line and then play their creatures. So I think what we'll do... So this is in the colours of Bedevil and Vraska's Contempt. So Dovin surviving is not necessarily a thing that's going to happen. So we either have Dovin minus to make us a Thopter, or we have Dovin tick up to get a counter off of Amara. I think we'll go with the Amara plan. It gives us an opportunity to play a Hallowed Fountain. Then we play Dovin on 4 and Tristani on 5, and I think it kind of works out curve-wise just a little bit better this way. This seems like the kind of deck I'd like to make Lifelinkers against as well. Ooh, a hero of their own. Okay. Into Footlight Fiend. Pretty solid. Hunted Witness. Okay. So, looks like Dovin's gonna die. We could play down Hunted Witness, which doesn't block particularly well. But it blocks all the same. I guess we try and drop down Dovin. Hope that Tristani gets him there later down the line.
Let's add this battle to your record of bad decisions.
And do we minus? We have a double block on Footlight Fiend if we minus, and then a block on Hero with Amara. I think we'll try and take it. I'm not entirely sure Dovin even lives through the turn anyway, even if we did tick up. So we'll try and just get some value by ticking down. Wow, Heroic Reinforcement size is real grim. Okay. Well, let's see what they want to do here. If they want to throw loads at Dovin, then under the bus he shall go. In the grand scheme of things, he's not really the key card we're looking for. So he's guaranteed to die, and we're just taking 3 off of this Footlight Fiend. I think I'm fine with that. Works for me. Tell you what doesn't work for me. Hitting more lands. Really don't need them. But we'll play Tristani anyway. Hopefully this allows us to keep up with our opponent's ability to create lots and lots of power. Good thing is that these soldiers are mono white, so they don't get the benefit from Glass of the Guild Pact. I think we'll swing in... I'll swing in like this, I think. I don't mind potentially tanking another heroic reinforcements off the top. It's really good with Hero Precinct 1. Footlight Fiend. I do want to make a glass deck at some point. I'm not sure what it would look like, but I imagine it would be somewhat similar to what we're seeing our opponent play right now. It's a weird one though. Oh, great. Just what I wanted. It's a weird one though, because Hero seems to fit into it so well, because this benefits from multicolored spells, but it doesn't create multicolored tokens. It's a very odd card in that sense. Alright, I think we'll just go with the swing here. It's these 3/3s that are a problem, really. I don't know if I want to start just alpha striking my opponent. They're probably waiting for an answer to Tristani, if I had to guess. Maybe even another heroic reinforcements. Wow, another glass. Alright, so now they got 4/4 Footlight Fiends. Ooh, and Legion's Landing. Legion's Landing is solid. That makes me perfectly happy to throw through a few creatures under the bus. So let's get in with Hunted Witness and the Soldier Token here. Obviously gonna block, but we get an untapped token off of the Hunted Witness. And tokens for the rest of the game now to block. And honestly, I think we're in a really dominant position now. They're supposed to be aggroing us out, but the fact that everything in our deck... Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, God. The fact that everything in our deck seems to be lifelinking right now is pretty solid. Make a token. And if we get any point Whatley off the top, we just win on the spot, I believe. So let's just keep swinging in with this token. Almost got him. They do actually have the board presence over us, unfortunately, but we have the power in the air, and they seem a little bit hesitant to start attacking through. I'll happily take 8 here, I think. Or I could quad block this. Is quad blocking it worth it? Probably, right? So we block twice, and then the first strike kills these guys, but then the normal strikes come in, and then these guys get in there. There's nothing really to worry about, I think, doing this. We even gain life off of it. You know what? Just in case. Everybody get in there. Everything's gonna die anyway, so, yeah. Have at it. So they take out 2, and then Swiftblade comes back in. Takes out another 2, but this time we gain 4 life off of it. And there's Whatley. Whatley minuses on our token, giving it +1/+1 for each creature we control, which is 7. No blocks, and game is over. Wow, this deck is actually... It's doing pretty well, funnily enough. I didn't expect it to do this well, but... Yeah, I can't wait to get into this one and properly tune it, actually. I think it's going to be pretty sweet. Alright, let's go for one more game. Alrighty then. We've managed to hit the 2 lands that we don't want to hit in this matchup, so that's pretty good. I just... You know, we need blue in the deck, and I run duels, but... Every single card in this deck is white in some form or another, so it really hurts having these here. Because I kind of need them for a splash, but at the same time, I think they're they're probably incorrect to a certain amount of deal. Alright, let's mulligan this one. Can't cast anything with it. And again, I don't know how this happens. This is crazy. We're going to keep this one. Because, yeah, any white land means we can still play a hero on turn 2. So, tap land, go. Hopefully not up against mono red. Although, I kind of feel like we should be fine against that matchup. Just because of life-linking tokens everywhere. So, hero, go. Next turn we get Legion's Landing down, which is fine. Yeah, I think the mana base might want looking at. It's kind of hard to splash both blue and green, apparently. Since Breeding Pool and Hidland Harbour seem to also be like actively working against my deck sometimes. So opponent goes with a Glowspore Shaman, can put a forest into play onto the top of the deck if they really want to, and they do. Fine Finality and Vivian hitting the graveyard's really nice. So we now actually have access to History of Benalia if we want it, which I don't mind. I think that helps us flip Legion's Landing quite nicely. It's whether or not I want to offer up a block on the Glowspore, and I think I don't, because most of these graveyard decks end up wanting things like Glowspore Shaman in the graveyard, whereas I would much prefer hero in play, so the trade isn't actually as worth it as it might be in other matchups, where it's just like a 1-for-1. Mine actually has an engine kind of attached to it, you know. It's in place to bounce off of the rest of my cards. So things like playing Legion's Landing, I would happily throw away my engine piece in that case, because then I get to create another engine. So it's not too bad. Next time I actually get to play Tristani, which is nice. This time I will offer a token here. I expect them probably to, well, kind of expected them to block it, honestly. I guess they're pretty threat light at the moment, so knowing that History of Benalia is going to trigger the 3rd chapter next turn, they might want to block it then, when it represents a little bit more damage. That might be what they're thinking. I'm pretty sure that they can't keep me off of flipping this Legion's Landing, though, short of like a Ritual of Soot or a Cry of the Carnarium. And if we get a land into Tristani, then this is going to be, oof. It's going to be one of those. So I don't believe there's targets. They do have Golgari Finebroker they can get back something with. It's just going to be the Harpooner. Yeah, this looks like chump fodder. March of the Multitudes. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably going to be 4, though. Oh, no, because I can use Legion's Landing mana. So, I do want to do a big march. Let's do that, that, and that. Flip Legion's Landing. We get the mana back that we lost from the tapped vampire. And then we'll do a big march, which is 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. X5. Get a token, get 5 more tokens. Drop Tristani next turn, and then we're swinging in with a lot of damage. Oof. And I think our opponent is board wipe or bust for them. It doesn't look like the type of deck that should be running board wipes. And I'm not sure what else they could really play here that gets them out of it. Maybe Plague Mare? Is that the one? Well, it gives -1/-1 to opposing creatures. Black Chain Whirler, essentially. Alright, Tristani. Make a token. Pump a tokens. Make more tokens. And then get swinging with everyone but Hero. I don't think my opponent can keep up with this. This is way too much value. They're at 5. I'm at 31. Land go. Threatening lethal on board. 6 mana needs to be Finality. Oh my god, they had it. Okay. Okay. We still have Benalia and Adanto. It's not the end of the world. Even a Legion's Landing. Legion's Landing. So we can't play Adanto or trigger Adanto if we play History of Benalia, so we should just play both. Try to keep in mind that if we want to flip a landing, then we're going to Legend Rule our Adanto the first fort. So we could use this kind of to generate mana in a turn as well. Do we see Vivian minus? I think we do.
Hell to lose to you.
Yep.
Get that out of here.
So we can put Vivian to 1. Huh. That's pretty nice. Can put Vivian to 1, but we lose a Knight token. Is that worth it? Certainly want to do this anyway. We know Vivian can't minus on this History of Benalia. She can tick up next turn, we go to chapter 2. She can kill herself to stop us from triggering chapter 3. By that point... I think we stop her from being able to stop chapter 3. We lose 1 token in the process, but we're going to have 2 in play as 4/3s. Adanto should trigger if we don't get anything better.
You'll have to do better than that.
So Vivian ticks up.
My newest friend.
I'm not sure if that's correct. But that stops the chapter 3 from being interrupted. Or at least might do anyway. Short of Assassin's Trophy. Or another Vivian or a Vraska. Stitcher's Supplier. Kinda sucks. Land, Crawl Foragers. Okay. So it's kind of the kitchen table fun version, really. It's not too close to the Golgari mid-range that we knew and hated. Hunted Witness, not great, but I'll take it. Opponent's board is building up quite a fair bit now, so it's going to be difficult to get over the top here, or around the sides. Yeah, I guess we pass. Plan on Adanto on end step.
The wilds are my shield.
Yeah, unfortunately, oof, these two are the only ones that are actually going to get a buff from History of Benalia, and our opponent has another Finality. Wow. Finebroker gets ever bigger. We do get a token. So, if they swing, I think we can potentially kill them off of a Watley top deck. Well, just get lands. Lucky opponent. Opponent dodged a bullet. Well, we just keep passing, keep activating Adanto every time we have a dud of a turn.
I've seen things that would break someone like you.
Do you gain life with this? Just deals damage. Okay. Molder Hulk's pretty grim. We're at 31, so dying to Lotleth Giant isn't really something that we have to concern ourselves with, but dying to Izoni probably is. Ugh. We have outs though, so I'm not gonna scoop to this, though I think it's pretty much over. Hitting 2 finalities on us and a proper sweep seems pretty hard to come back from, honestly. Get an Amara. Okay. Well, play Amara. Yeah, the go wide strategy is not going to work for us, but the go over the top, maybe with a Thopter off of Dovan,
the wilds like I do.
Could do some good for us. I'm just not sure what else we really can do in there. And I'm guessing our opponent will eventually find Choops and other removal sources as well. to get through. Hasty, 10-10. Officially on the blocks for that one. Because they've got 10 creatures in the yard, so Lotless Giant comes down and deals 10, so we virtually are at 14, we'll call it. Can't go any lower than that. Ooh, opponent's going to start sacking tokens. I mean, the sequencing on that is almost certainly incorrect. They could swing in with the tokens, and then whichever ones I block, they crack, since they'd lose them anyway. But maybe they're just not planning on attacking, I'm not sure. We get a little attack from them, okay. Well, we get a little block from us. There we go. Blocked with a cutie. Come on, good card. Never mind. It's Breeding Pool, everybody's favourite. Alright. Pass. At least we have the squelching sounds. They'll always be with us. Vivian ticks up. Vivian's probably going to ult anytime soon. She's at 6. Ult's at 8. Yeah, this game's over. I don't know. I just don't really see us coming back from this. We need like Dove and Minus to get a token. We need to then live for a turn, which is probably unlikely. And then we need Huatli to minus to take us over the top and still have enough creatures to get the +1/+1. I think I'm going to scoop this one up, honestly. I'll see what the next draw is and then I'm done. Don't know what my opponent's so afraid of. Maybe they're thinking I have settled the wreckage. There we go. That's the attack that I expect. Okay. We're just really dead, though. We got a block here, got a block here. Taking 6. Could jump a few. Might as well, I guess. I just want to know what we'll draw. It's a land. Okay, well, we were never going to win this one, apparently. Let's go for another one, though. Alrighty then, we're in, and this is a reasonable hand. Turn 1 Legion's Landing into turn 2 Amara, turn 3 Dovan. It's kind of exactly what we want. The only downside is we're going to have to shock ourselves with Temple Garden, and if it's mono red, we're going to kind of regret that. But we get a lifelink token out of it anyway, and Amara produces them all the same as well. So we'll see. It might not be too bad. Temple Garden, Legion's Landing, go. It's kind of the perfect land as well in terms of shock lands, because now the Glacial Fortress and Hinterland Harbour are untapped lands, and it is mono red. Hey, hey, everybody's favourite. Okay. But they pass. Fair dues. Well, let's swing in with our 1 token, just to see if it'd eat a shock, since Amara's coming down, and I'd like her to feel safe, you know? Comfortable. Under my control. It's very unlikely. She's just gonna die, really. I mean, maybe our opponent goes for a setup turn, but yeah. Never in a million years. Okay. So, prayer, our opponent misses a land drop. Nope. Well, that prayer was never answered. Okay. Probably gonna be like Pyromancer, or whatever he's called. The 2-1. Viashino Pyromancer. Or just passes. Playing the control route. Fair dues. So, our opponent had shock before and they didn't waste it on our 1-1, so there's no reason to suggest they'll do that again. But playing Dovan and minusing will give them the shock of their dreams, so I think we'll just tick up with Dovan, see if they shock the token or lightning strike it. Just to keep Dovan in check.
I look forward to seeing your mistakes.
I mean, if they don't, then we're not going to be too sad. Okay. Lightning strikes Dovan. Getting right into it. So Dovin's not going to live, presumably. If we get a land, we get to Legion's Landing Loxodon. I think I do want to wait until I have 2 lifelink tokens to stick underneath Loxodon. Because it just gains so much value that way. Opponent spends their entire turn killing Dovin. Awesome. Alright, so Legion's Landing. Say yes. Get rid of that. And then Loxodon, convoke the 2 vampire tokens. Because they were convoked, they get a counter each. So we now got a pretty wonderful board state. This is not something Mono Red really wants to see. And then we've even got March of the Multitudes as well to get some more lifelink tokens. This alone, though, needs answering, because if we flip Legion's Landing, I don't think that they can win this game. Playing the control route that they are. They've so far, I don't think... Yeah, they haven't spent a single one of their burn spells so far on our face. Which is not where Mono Red wants to be. Depending on their hand, it could be the correct line for them, but it's very rare that that is actually the case, that Mono Red wants to play control. Yeah, so now Wizard's Lightning goes to face. This is probably for light up the stage, yeah. And now we get Legion's Landing flipped. Well, let's flip Legion's Landing. It's very important we do that. Gain 4. So we have Hero here, which is another Convoke trigger. I think we want to play it. The alternative is that we activate a Danto to make a lifelink token. And they already have more than enough instants in there to make Lava Runner come down as a 2-2. So it might be Steamkin, Lava Runner, leave them with 1 mana. Wizard's Lightning maybe, or Shock. And in which case I kind of want to have tokens back. I'm not sure about this one. When it comes down to the value that we're really gaining... Ooh. Avoiding the exiled Steamkin? Is that, like, about as close to conceding as Mono Red ever gets? I'm going to take this too. Being at 19, I don't really care. Why let the exiled one go to waste? You must have a land, surely. Yeah, this has to be pure punt, because this goes away. The one in their hand didn't. They didn't even need to show me that they had this Steamkin in hand. Skewer the critics on my token. And then make another token. Another land isn't the worst, it's just a bit March of the Multitudes here. And we're absolutely just going to get him for 4. Having a big Steamkin around is problematic, to say the least. But now we get to play a Hero and a Danto, and then next turn, a big March of the Multitudes is going to be really solid. Probably to close this game out. We want to play it carefully, though, because we can get blown out by a Chain Whirler if we leave 1/1s in play. Unattended, let's say. I think our opponent is alt F4'd. A lot of the times I like to say that I give the benefit of the doubt and say that this is like server issues, you know, the game has crashed on them or it's lagging out, but you just can't help but notice that it always happens when they're losing. So, you know, it's a thing, I guess. Oh, they're back. Alright, they're letting 4 through because... reasons. Alright. Hero. Pass. I mean, depending on what they do here, we do actually have an X4 March of the Multitude, so it might just be worthwhile to go for it. Steamkin. X4 March of the Multitude. attitudes. Oh yeah, you're dead. Cool. Yeah, make that decision. Do it. It's for your own good. Cool. I believe that's lethal. So, X4, make 4 tokens, plus another one, it's 5 tokens, that's 5. Yeah, it's enough. X4. Trigger hero. They block hero and Loxodon, and then the rest come through. Good stuff. Goodbye, mono red. Yeah. Bit of a weird one. Good game. Good sport in the end. That's why you benefit of the doubt, you know? They came back, they finished out the game, and then they were even courteous enough to give us some emotes that weren't trolly and degenerate. Alright, well, that's probably going to do it for today. Let's open up this pack before we go. Da-da-da-da. It is Pestilence Spirit. Okay. It's a thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure this card's all that good. You know, it basically encourages playing bad spells, I think. But it's a fun card, I guess. And it's a spirit, so you never know. Maybe Spirit Tribal comes back. But either way, that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's deck, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for some more content in the future. Also, if you have any suggestions for the changes to this deck, since it isn't actually a final build, I don't think, the mana base is probably something I want to look at. The breeding pools and hinterland harbors seem to just actively hurt the deck, so I might want to find another way. Maybe even just holding on to these guys and then adding in basics might just be a better thing, but yeah, hitting green on its own, just for like Imara and Huatley, it's a bit of an odd one. You never want these in your opener. It's strange, but yeah, if you have any suggestions. I did have a sideboard of potential things in here, because I was kind of thinking about putting it in a best of 3 situation, but maybe I'll do that in the future. But anyway, any feedback is greatly appreciated. But I hope you guys have enjoyed anyway. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, all that jazz. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.